is there really a Filipino identity? Is there Filipino architecture? Philippine architecture will have its identity based on its time. Today, we have to give and contribute to what is the Filipino architecture of today. I am not to copy, I'm here to think.
Magandang araw mga kagulong! Ako po si Mister Angkas, George Rieka para sa isa na namang episode ng PasaHero. Hanggang saan ka kayang dalhin ang passion mo? Sa pangarap mong trabaho, sa isang sikat na kumpanya o sa buong mundo? Ang kasama natin sa biyahe ngayon, masasabi kong hero sa bawat Pilipino. Bakit? Dahil sa bawat disenyo niya, hindi lang pangalan niya ang dala niya, kasama rin ang buong Pilipinas. Let's welcome on today's episode of PasaHero, the lead advocate of modern Filipino architecture, the award-winning and world-renowned architect, Mister Royal Pineda.
Thank you, George. Salamat. Masyadong mabait yung intro mo sa akin.
Hindi, ano yun? Konting yabang.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. First question ko.
Okay.
How do you feel about your name, Royal?
Well, I've always felt na it was a gift, no? Kasi my dad was named Reynaldo, and he's always been called Ray. Mm-hmm. And he explained this to me, no, when he was still living. And sabi niya sa akin, Ray kasi is king. So with that name, he said, I named you Royal because I wanted you to be almost like a junior. But ayokong maging katulad mo lang yung pinagdaanan ko. It's not gonna be a copy.
Yeah.
I want you to have your freedom to be you. So I named you Royal, which is also royalty, is like kingship.
Correct.
So parang dinala ko rin yung pangalan niya. And then I continued that to my son.
Yeah.
Ang pinangalan ko naman, August. Kasi Augustus. Which is another
emperor.
So I think our names is our brand. Mm-hmm. We are all a brand. No? So parang yun yung nakita ko. And that made me feel good of doing things, for whatever that I do.
So your father early on taught you that value, no? To really value yourself. You tell me about that experience.
Well, I think because I'm from a family of educators, both sides, no? Pareho yun. Nanay ko, tatay ko, parehong teachers ang family. So my dad was a physical educator. My mom was a science and English school teacher from the elementary.
Tough dinner table, ha?
It's almost like, it's
may test
24 hours yun, no? I mean, lagi kang may teachers, no? So, which is nice. I enjoyed it growing up. They're very good parents. So, somehow, I think with all those things that they have mentioned to me, imagine yun every day. Meron talagang bumaon.
Yeah.
Something was left and something was planted. And I think I carry that up to now.
And going by that mindset, no, parang naging importante, you're really advocating the modern Filipino. Having the name Royal kind of gives you that advantage, diba? Parang run me through that. Yung pag nakikita, pag ini-introduce ka or sa calling card mo, I mean, especially when you were still starting out, parang were you ever feeling na parang shy about the Royal name, or when did you start kind of really commanding na you're talking to Royal Pineda?
I have a second name. I'm Royal Christopher Pineda. So, but from the beginning, like when I was young, it's always been Royal. So parang hindi ko na, it was not something na I felt a little bit parang, what is that feeling that I should feel with my name?
Yeah.
So, but every time people hear my name, so parang there's always a point of conversation.
Yes.
And ang maganda doon is...
You'll never forget your name.
Actually, in my entire, I'm 48 now. Like, there's almost like 3 people who mentioned to me na, you're the second person that I know that, named Royal. Like, I was in the immigration in the US and the airport. Then sabi ng guy, what the F, what your name? Sabi niya, I have my grandfather named this way, Royal, so you're the second. So parang it's not a common name, but then I think
Diyos,
naging
naman
maganda.
George. Diyos ko, grabe.
Hindi,
Disadvantage na ako.
Pero yung George mo ngayon, kasi George is the brand of Angkas. So you resonate your dreams and you bring your visions into your Angkas. And again, it becomes synonymous to your vision na Angkas.
You keep talking about the brand identity. And with your designs, you kind of really insist on putting the brand identity of Filipinos.
Yes.
Whether it's global, local, kahit ano.
Yes.
It's still the brand identity of Filipinos, but in a modern twist.
Yes, yes.
Why is that important?
Well, it's very important first really to me, no? Because that's been my discomfort. No? Parang as a Filipino, and then I progress as an architect, no? Parang, is there really a Filipino identity? So that's the first question. Then I became an architect. I was doing architecture. I was practicing. There's this big question: is there Filipino architecture? Is there such a thing? So with
Meron,
that,
bahay kubo.
oh, so no, totoo yun.
Yeah,
Parang Philippine architecture will have its identity based on its time and needs of yung era. So my question is, well, there's no question anymore na is there a Filipino architecture? Yes, there was. So dumarating yon, dumating ang mga Kastila, nagkaroon ng impluensya and all, but it's always been moving.
Yeah.
So my question is, today we have to give and contribute to what is the Filipino architecture of today.
Yung modern Filipino, ang lalim yun at ang layo yun. And I really like the fact that you're also doing city halls. Kasi alam mo, pag pupunta ka sa Amerika, ang ganda-ganda ng opisina ng gobyerno. Tapos sa atin lagi...
Parang lahat, represent.
Exactly.
Represents it. Kaya nga, di ba, pagka tinignan mo ang Washington, D.C.,
diba?
it's establishment. You see
The Capitol, you see the White House, you see
integrity,
the
dignity.
Exactly.
Yun ang nire-represent.
Galing,
Kasi
galing.
sa atin, frail.
You know, tama ka eh. Because, you know, when I think of a city, you know, like Shanghai or Sydney, there is architecture involved. I do
Yes.
not think of a city, parang the architecture puts a face to the name.
Yes.
Diba? And
To the
nga,
place,
parang ano yung
to the
architecture
people.
ng Manila?
Yes.
Ng Metro Manila, diba?
Yes.
Kasi alam natin, Washington, D.C., meron
Yes,
yan, diba?
yes.
You always think of a building.
Yes.
Petronas Towers of Malaysia, just
Yes.
Southeast Asia, that they were known because of the Petronas Towers,
Yes.
right? So yeah, that's very, very interesting.
And it anchors to the concept of nature, no? Kasi I'm a naturalist and a modernist, no? When I say it, my philosophy is anchored to nature, because if you try to decipher nature, I mean, you will never get to know it totally.
Yeah.
Pero just an inch of knowing what nature is all about, that's a big, big plus already. So pag tinignan mo ang every person, kasi I always believe that man is nature, no?
Yeah.
Never that we are separate. So pag tinignan mo ang isang person, di ba, when you say it's George, the George name cannot have an image. There's an image which is you that I
Yes.
see now. And that image becomes the you. So it's difficult to just hear the voice and the name George without an identity.
Kailangan may visual.
But then your identity is a manifestation of who you are and what you are and what you're made of. So what I'm just trying to say and trying to do through architecture is to truthfully interpret what the Filipinos is all about.
Through the architecture, so that we can be known as a land,
I mean,
no? As
in the end, people will read it as, hey, I saw this airport like the Zambales Mountains, and there's no other Zambales Mountains in the world, because Zambales is Zambales. Nature put it there. And then here you are, your architecture mimics it and reflects it. Then that architecture is Filipino.
Fantastic. You know, the bird's nest ng ano.
The bird's nest of
ng
China. It's like,
no?
for me, Chinese architecture doesn't have to be all this, Chinese roof with the dragons
yes,
and the...
correct.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Yes.
But it has to move with the time.
Correct.
And that's what for me is modernity. It has to challenge the status quo. It has to move forward because there is a better way of doing it now.
Yeah, it's very interesting how architecture really embodies the soul, and you've really explained it well. I never realized it that way. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, well,
diba? And now I look at it differently na, no?
Yes.
It
And
really,
it's a continuum. It's never going to end. As long as you have that faithful mind of looking for growth and betterment, it will never stop because what's better today is different from the better 50 years from now.
so of course, when you push the design, diba? Beauty is definitely important.
Yes.
But how do you now be mayabang about Filipino, like yung bahay kubo nga, right? Incorporate mo yun, or yung wood, right? But how do you tell people that that's luxury? Anong naisip mo at paano mo naisip na naging luxury ang kahoy ng bahay kubo, di ba? Well, hindi naman luxury yun.
Luxury comes when you're able to better yourself. When you're able to improve yourself. When you're able to make yourself feel way, way better from what you were. Because kung hindi mo nagawa yon, there's always that hiya.
Yes.
And you're always apologetic. No? I'll give you an example, like the NAIA airport. No? Every time you invite a guest and they enter through Manila with the NAIA airport, you're always saying, oh, we're so sorry, and the traffic and the terminal is just so chaotic.
That's the first thing that they see.
Yeah, and it's the gateway, no? So that's right away giving you that very inferior feeling.
Yes.
No? But then you try to invite them and enter through Clark, wherein it's touchless, it's operated well.
I love the
it's
wood.
It's all digital with the glue laminated wood architecture. It's Filipino. It's the Zambales Mountains. And it's, for me, the most quiet terminal because there's no announcement happening. It's all on your phone.
Yeah.
So if you try to invite a foreigner coming, and then when they fly over, arriving the terminal, they see the beautiful mountains of Zambales.
Wow.
There's pride instantly.
Iyayabang mo, no?
Oh, yung yabang, it becomes more of like a subtle, for me, gravitas.
Yes.
No?
I would say humble brag, but gravitas is a better term.
Yeah, it's like there is that presence of you as a person, as a race, that as a Filipino, okay, it's not the entire Philippines, it's just a portion now, but hey, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm showing you the future of how the Philippines can be because this is how we think now, and that goes to the mindset.
Correct.
So what we're showing now to the foreigners, to the guests, and to all our friends is our mindset. And the mindset starts to reflect the identity through architecture, fashion, system of transportation, everything.
Everything, yeah.
It is a representation of who we are. Yeah. The mind, it executes what it believes. Diba?
Iba na kami ngayon.
Yes.
It's a belief system. Kanila, diba? Iba na kami ngayon. Nakita mo, ganda na airport namin. No?
It will always move.
Sige.
We have Angkas now.
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
We have a way to better. You see, yes, we cannot afford right away all the subways.
Yeah.
All the railways. Fine. But hey, we have luxury by design. We have George here who thought of improving transportation. With the givens of the Philippines.
Yeah.
So it's not about the limitation.
Yeah.
The limitation pushes you to be creative.
Zambales Mountains. But you also like Pinatubo, your stadium.
Yeah.
Tell me about the crater.
Well, the as I always say, I'm a naturalist, so I will always celebrate nature, and nature provides. It provided us lahar.
Yes.
Well, of course, in the first eruption, it felt like it's a devastation. No, but even an erupting volcano is peaceful to me. No, when you see this happening, and it's just nature doing its thing.
Correct.
No, and then after that, wow, an overflowing supply of lahar. Now, what do you do with it? Lahar is being given to you by nature.
Beautiful.
We made it the fabric of the city. Because for me, parang you just form it, no? yung lahar, because it's in the rivers, you just quarry it and then form it, make it the new material.
Is it strong?
Yeah, you can structurally, they make it as cement now.
Oh, wow.
So the point is, it can be, you can see it in a very positive way. It's just knowing how to see it. I think that's how.
Royal, you're not an architect, you're a storyteller. You like telling stories, and you're telling stories of significance. And that changes the way people feel about themselves, especially Filipinos, which, which is what we try to do also, no? We're trying to be a globally competitive tech brand.
Yes.
But what you have is a bit more daunting, right? You're not an app, you're a structure, a massive structure competing against all structures in the world.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. But what's the genesis of this? I heard that hindi ka naman dapat architecture. Diba? Engineer ka dapat eh.
It was meant, for me, it's really for me, it's God's plan. And I'm very thankful kasi I cannot imagine myself being an engineer. Nothing against engineers, but they're all our partners and collaborators, no? But I think my organic nature is about creativity. When I was young, I always see cars, I see homes, buildings, and I sketch them. I see Mona Lisa because we used to have a portrait of Mona Lisa in our small library.
Oh wow!
And whenever I sketch them, I make a version. If I look at a car, I don't
Naka-smile
copy
na yung version mo.
Ni Mona Lisa. No, I put bangs. Kasi mataas yung ni hairline ni Mona Lisa.
Okay.
So, nilagyan ko siya
Improvement.
Betterment.
Hairstylist din si Royal Pineda.
So, from the beginning, I always felt that I am not to copy or not even just to draw. I'm here to think of what is better and to challenge everything that I see. So even when I'm riding in a car, I'm sitting in a conference room, whenever I see something, I start to figure it out. Like, what can make this roll-up shades better? What can make this?
Oo nga naman.
I mean, it's always there.
Yes.
And it's real time, it's full time, and I like it.
Parang kinabahan ako papuntahin si Royal sa bahay ko. Pwede mo magawin ng mountain, pero yung taal, para maliit lang yung bahay.
Well, I'll be excited to design your house, because if
you're gonna have to. You're gonna be like, no.
But it would be nice to interpret you through architecture.
Wow.
Diba? It would be nice.
Yes.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
You were talking about refinement. You were saying that you don't compete, you refine. What's your philosophy on this, with especially other architects that would take your work and also copy what you do in their own little area or nook?
Yeah. Well, because I have three philosophies. No, my main philosophy is really nature is peace. No, that's 26 years ago I discovered that. I said to myself, if nature is my peace, why do I start cutting trees?
Yeah.
Whenever I have properties and developments, and I get lazy. Whenever I get tired of trying to solve it, I'll just cut the tree, put my building. What's important is my architecture. There's ego. So I needed to change my mindset. So I changed it to man is nature.
Okay.
So there's no more duality.
They're one and the same.
When you're one, you respect
nature.
Nature
it's
the same way.
You respect yourself.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of cutting the tree, it's like cutting your own arm. So you will never dare. So there's a change of reaction, no? And you will exert a million effort to save the arm, to save the tree.
Yeah.
So that's the second. And then the third, where it's more of the concept of competition and actually confidence. No? I believe in the variety of the world. That's the third philosophy. So as a naturalist, I looked at the world. The French were put in France, the Italians in Italy, the Filipinos in the Philippines. I'm sure there was a reason, right? So I am not gonna be Filipino and trying to be French. Because there's a reason why the French are French and why the Italians make beautiful furnitures and cars and whatever. Because they refined it. I tell you, those Italians, when they're trying to refine those cars and their furnitures, they were not trying to say, this should be an Italian car.
Correct.
They were just refining it with this needs to be the best car for the Italians.
Period.
Yeah.
Best, yeah.
They have to cater to the Italians. The same thing. The Filipinos should start refining ourselves first. And then the world will recognize whatever we created for ourselves deserves, good things for the Filipinos. Then the world starts to say, hey, have you seen the airport in Clark? That's Filipino. That's Philippine architecture. You see, aesthetic and, for me, standards, they are manifestations of your internal belief.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is we have to keep improving ourselves. And then the world is a potluck. Once we're able to refine ourselves, it's like our own adobo.
Yeah.
Hindi mo naman dinadala yung adobo mo kung hindi masarap sa party.
Adobo ko yung pinakamasarap.
Diba? So,
yun talaga.
So kung masarap yung adobo mo, dadalhin mo sa party. So the world's a potluck. You don't bring your designs. If it's still ugly, if it's still bad for the Filipinos, why would you bring it there? Refine yourself. So my point is, why will you compete? Wherein the Italians are doing something that's Italian. Now, ang tanong ko, Pilipino, ano
yung
ginagawa?
Filipino? This is the refined Royal Pineda. So, talk me through that journey. I'm sure you had a lot of mishaps. Meron mga,
Of course.
You tried it. Ay, mali pala. So our viewers can know na, parang sasabihin na nila, Royal Pineda overnight refined na, pinanganak na, ganyan na yung buhok. Diba? Paglabas mo, Hugh Grant na. So, bago ka naging Hugh Grant, ano nangyari? What were these mishaps? What was that journey? What is that journey of refinement for you?
Sabi ko nga, I'm a product of public school system.
Yes.
My parents were public school teachers. And I'm so thankful that I did parang go through all that process. Because otherwise, I will not have this sensibility. That I will not have the same desire to change the country. Because I saw how difficult it was. And we used to study under the tree. And maybe that's one thing that made me so in love with nature. Because I can be happy under a tree. I saw the difficulties. It was never easy. But then, the challenge is, whenever you see a vision, it becomes your north point. It becomes your destination. So it's the commitment to reach that destination. Because if you're not committed to reach the destination, you can always linger.
Yeah.
Pwede ka naman tumambay, pwede ka naman totally, okay, I see the vision, but then, do I really want to go there?
Yes.
So,
Do you know what it takes? Kaya mo bang diba?
parang
To commit
may
to...
gagawin ka ba? I think even the first question is yung nga, may gagawin ka ba? Kasi kahit naman nakita mo yung vision, wala kang ginawa.
Correct.
In the end, it will never move. It will never reach that end,
How do you refuel your passion? You're very passionate, very creative, but it's also tiring to be creative all the time. How do you refuel your passion?
Well,
what are your tricks?
I don't have tricks. It's really more of I think I always connect with it. I always have a reset in me. Every day I have to count my blessings, of course. The next day, in fact, my favorite day is a Monday.
You're one of the few.
It's because I feel that it's an opportunity to be productive. And that's what I was telling you, the concept of betterment.
Yes.
Because when I feel that there is no betterment, I feel that I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
If I don't if I assess my day and before I go to bed and I ask myself, what did I do today? Is there any accomplishment? Is there any productivity? And if there's none, I feel a little bit,
Useless.
yeah. So it's like I wasted.
Not living.
Oh, you wasted time and you wasted a purpose na was given to you. And that gives me that drive to wake up and look forward to tomorrow and say, I'm ready for the next day.
They will definitely use that. The way I thought I was already in a good place when I would check back every year. So every year I check back on whether I've improved myself or I've grown. But you do this on a daily basis, and it's that checkpoint is it's a platform to get you even further.
Yeah, and I'm sharing it because I really see that it works. Because what's good is that it doesn't even have to be a big leap.
Yeah, you can always improve.
Yeah, it's just, like I did something like one good thing today. And it's not major, but it's a productivity. It's a betterment. But the next day and the next day, until you count it for a year, then wow, it's like a kilometer of a difference.
Yeah.
So my point is, it becomes difficult because when you see the load, when you see the length, and you want to do it right away, then it becomes heavy.
Yeah.
But then if you do
Increments.
it with endurance and you just keep doing it, you just keep the drive, the commitment, and everything is just energetic and positive, you'll be surprised. You look back and there's a kilometer behind you that you finished. And that for me is rewarding. That for me is like, wow, like freedom. Like you really see yourself just moving. I think it's the drive. And again, as I always say, it's always in the mind. No?
Yeah.
Even design is a belief system. If you think that red is nice, di ba? Pagka sinabi mo, hindi, maganda red eh. Kasi yun ang belief system mo eh. You will always, I'm sure in your design, there's always red.
Yeah. What you said, no, it's a belief system. Ako, ang belief ko, basta gawa ng Amerikano, okay.
That's why.
Hindi gawa ng Pilipino, hindi okay yan eh. Doon tayo sa colonial mentality tayo, di ba? Masarap ang Coke. So, so what was that transition like for you? How did you get your own, ito yung maganda? Kasi right now, I'm feeling that way now pa lang, na parang yung choices ko, yung choice ko. But I wasn't always like that.
Yes. Well, it was because of that discomfort. Yun nga, yung hindi ka mapakali na bakit ang kailangan laging maganda yung galing sa labas? Bakit hindi ba maganda yung meron tayo?
Correct.
When I discovered my philosophy that I am anchored to nature, right away, it gave me freedom to tell myself that nobody can dictate to me my taste or what even works for me. Nature has so many reasons and things to tell you, ang bahay mo kailangan gawin mo ganito. May technology na naman na bago. So in a way, I think the freedom gives us more of this confidence. Kasi you cannot be that confident if you know that what you're carrying is a copy.
Correct.
If I tell you, what's your house? Oh, my house is Mediterranean. Okay, beautiful. And then here's the real Mediterranean guy saying, hey, can I see your house? Oh, it's a copycat.
Totoo yan.
It's a second rate because the real Mediterranean architecture is in our place, in the Mediterranean Sea.
Sila yung may providence nun eh.
No? So ngayon, ang tanong sa bawat Pilipino dapat, what is your nature? And that will be your identity, your integrity, your dignity, and that will live on, and that will be the brand of every Filipino.
Galing. I mean, galing. You know what, Bro Pineda, really resonates with me. Do not let anybody dictate what you like, essentially. You need to really search deep, and when you find that out, he promises you, and I promise you too, that it'll be talagang freedom. It'll give you all the freedom.
You cannot just swallow the pill.
That's amazing.
You have to question the pill. It cannot be like, the West, take it, it works. You just take it, no. What is it for?
Yeah.
You're a cold climate. You're you're different.
That's true.
It doesn't work for us.
I hear Luz Viminda.
Yeah, well,
Is that still
it's,
on the table?
Yes, it's again. I always believe in the concept of nature. So I believe in growth. I believe in organic process. So Luz Biminda is something that I planted back then, and it's a mindset, because there was no master plan for the country. So I needed to plant a vision for every Filipinos to see. And I don't care what you do with it. Because in the end, I just know that as an individual,
Naisip mo na, nabigay mo yung isipan sa kanya.
And I'm sure, maybe, baka ikaw
You can
maging
improve
next
on
presidente.
it, whatever.
Di ba? Or you'll be the next engineer to
Hindi totoo yun.
Di ba? Di ba? Parang ang point lang is, for me, our role here is to leave the idea on the table.
Yeah.
And I can walk away from that already, because what's important is it's been said, it's been planted, and it's for everybody to hear and know. No?
You know, that takes real confidence to put that out there. You know, it takes a real man to walk away and say, okay, even if I don't do it, or even if it's just there, I've planted that seed for anybody else to take it on or do it or improve it or whatever. That takes a real confident position.
Well, I think because when you dream for the many, I think that is the most rewarding. No, parang just the fact that you're able to give a gift that's even endless, because my creativity is from nature itself.
Yeah.
I never feel that I'll run out of creativity. So,
Wow.
What is Luz Biminda? A vision that came into my head. For me to keep it to myself, will that do anything? But if I give it to everyone and leave it there, the
It
possibilities.
becomes a living thing.
Yeah, it's organic. Somebody, and I tell you, it happened. Like NEDA picked it up, and everybody picked it up, and now it's continuous. Every bridge, every idea of connecting the country is all about this Biminda.
It has your imprint.
It-
Baka you should run for president.
I'm not designed.
You
for
heard it here first, guys.
I'm not designed for it. So, and I know.
Man with a plan.
So I think that makes our lives as creatives exciting.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we are willing to give and be generous like nature, I think we can turn this world into a better place.
Wow, thank you for that. That's really, really amazing. Ba't niyo ako sinisenyasan? Nag-uusap pa kami dito.
Sorry, are we super long? Well, you asked for this, right?
No. This is really, really inspiring. I think I got a lot of lessons and tidbits in terms of, you know, how to improve and refine. You know, the whole ethos that you have in terms of refinement. It's something that everybody can learn from, and it's really, really thank you for everything that you've done and how you're really pushing modern Filipino. This is something that really resonates with me. It's very close to my heart.
Yeah, I think
You know, and I think
you are a modern Filipino yourself.
Yes.
You are. You carry it. You carry it. You have
Sometimes-
changed the lives of the Filipinos.
Thank you very much. But you are an inspiration to many, and you know, there's a lot of people that are watching this right now that is now more confident to say what they think. And na hindi sila mahihiya dahil hindi yun na vinalidate ng ibang tao. And I think that's what every single Filipino should learn. And you've now learned it from Mr. Royal Pineda himself. Maraming
Thank
salamat.
you so much, George.
Sir Royal,
Salamat.
Thank you very much. Salamat din sa ating mga kagulong at sa mga angkas bikers na sinamahan tayo sa episode na to. Follow nyo rin po ang ating mga iba't ibang social media accounts for more business and discarded tips mula sa akin at sa ating mga kausap dito sa show. Damay nyo na rin po yung angkas accounts para masuportahan din natin ang mga mahal na riders na nakikinig din sa atin ngayon. Ako po ulit si Mister Angkas, George Rieka, ang inyong PasaHero. Huwag niyong kalimutan sa tamang diskarte, lahat tayo kayang umangat. Angkas, Pilipinas.